Hey family, I guess it's my turn to weigh in on the issue of love and relationships, since so many people seem to have a constant communication, and it sounds like a lot of people have a lot of things to say about it. I guess the biggest reason I'm willing to weigh into it right now is primarily because I have a lot of cousins, female cousins, and I have two daughters myself. One of them is married and one of them has been divorced. But based upon the way my daughter has been raised and most of the modeling she's received from her mother, I don't really think it's going to be long before she's wiped up again. But that's beside the point. The biggest reason I'm weighing in on this issue is because of what I said earlier. There are a lot of people in my own family, single women who are professionals, single women who have been, they're longing for love, but they haven't been able to figure out what the formula is, and they haven't been able to obtain the brass ring, if you will. And it's not that they're desperate or anything. I don't believe that. And I don't believe a lot of the hype that a lot of people who have issues with black women in general, they tend to make assumptions about black women in terms of their abilities and their capacities and their potential. But the reality is, it's just that many people just don't have some basic understandings about how love actually functions in a relationship. But I think the bigger issue here is that they really don't know how love works. They just don't have a clue. They have what I call dysfunctional modeling in their past, and they continue based upon the habits that they've developed as a result of that modeling. They have allowed that into every relationship, and they have just not been able to develop or learn why they continue to get the same results. So what I want to do for the next, well, I was going to say for the next couple days, but I really don't know how long this is going to take. So I want to do something that most people don't do. I'm going to give you ladies some information from a man that's been married for 35 years to the same woman. A man that has never cheated on his wife in 35 years, believe it or not. A man that has been content with the same woman for 35 years. A man who has learned and continues to learn how to love his wife deeper, and has developed a fulfilling, gratifying love that most of you seek. Most of the time you hear this information from people who've never been married. You hear the same information, or pretty much you hear other people's opinion who've been divorced several times. You hear this people's opinions about love and relationships, and trying to give single women who are living single, longing love, trying to give them information from people who have a very difficult time maintaining the relationships they have. I'm going to give you a little insight from a man who's been living it for a change. Now, I think I'm talking to you. I think I'm talking to a wise woman, or wise women. If you're interested in knowing what to look for, if you're interested in knowing how to love, if you're interested in learning the habits, the fundamentals, then I'm your man. If you want to keep learning from pop culture and learning from all the guys online who don't know anything, they're just telling you what they've heard some other guy online say, go for it. If you get the predictable outcome, which is nothing, don't be surprised. Okay? Now, my topic pretty much is this. It's why is it that black women, of all women, are not getting married in the 21st century? Why is it that black women, of all women, are not getting married in the 21st century? Well, first of all, let me say this. It's not because of their status. It has nothing to do with their status. I know if you've gone to college and you've taken some of the feminist classes or the womanist classes, whatever, and they've told you that men are intimidated by your income, your status, your state in life. If you want to continue to believe that, go ahead. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to worry about whether or not you think I'm offending you. I'm not really trying to do that, but if you're that easily offended by the truth, go ahead. Be offended. But the reality is, men are not intimidated by a woman's status. Now, and I do think there are exceptions to my statement, if you do come into contact with a man that just happens to be intimidated by your status, well, that man's not ready for you. When I met my wife, she was in college. I've never seen a college, okay? I wasn't intimidated by that. To be honest, I was impressed. Any man, if he's a real man, if you understand the way a man's mind works, a man always wants something of greater value because he cherishes it. Money in and of itself is not inherently evil, but you don't want to use money as the identifier or money as the currency for the relationship. It ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work. You're gonna get a boy. Okay? It doesn't really add that much value. It just doesn't. Now, you don't have to believe that. That's fine with me. You can keep doing what you've been doing and keep getting what you've been getting. Okay? Me, I'm good. The reality is, and I'm just going to deal with this one issue today because it's too broad of a topic. And for people to try to talk about it in 15, 20 minutes and thinking they're helping you, it's just an indication of how I think not connected or in touch, or they don't have some understanding of the issue. I just don't think they do. Now, there are several reasons why there are a lot of black women who are not getting married. I think the biggest reason is just ignorance on their part. And what I mean by ignorance is at least two areas, okay? The first area, I would say, is ignorance about what really matters for relationships to work. They have no clue. Am I talking to every woman? No. I'm talking to women who want marriage, partnership, whatever term you want to give it. But for some reason, this has been eluding them. So, if you're ignorant about how relationships work, and if you're ignorant about just that area alone, it stands to reason if you don't know how things work, then you won't know how to maintain them. So you get into relationships, you're in them for a period of time, and then you're out. Nothing in the relationships never developed into commitment. People call relationships where it's just a hookup style relationship, where you're exclusively, quote unquote, exclusively having sex with one another You think that adds some sort of value to the relationship because you have exclusively decided to have sex with one another. 99% of the time, that's nothing. It doesn't really add value. You don't understand how to add value to the relationship. You don't understand how relationships work. Period. You're ignorant. That doesn't make you bad. So don't get back on your heels and, like I always say, drop your rocks. Don't start stoning a brother. Okay? You don't know how relationships work. And if you don't know what you don't know. Just look at the way your life's been going. Okay? That's number one. You don't know what you don't know about relationships. Period. Number two, you don't really understand men. Shh, shh. That's my little dog over here crying. You don't really understand men. I realize, ladies, being a man, growing up in Detroit City, I've seen a lot of dysfunctional relationships. Being in the military in the United States Navy, I've seen even more dysfunctional relationships. If anything I know dysfunction when I see it. And many times it's because of that ignorance area where people don't know how to have a relationship. And number two, they don't understand the opposite sex, whether it be male or female. This is not either or. It's males and females. You don't understand how a man's mind works. When you see a man, you see a hairy woman. When you see a man, you see yourself. When you judge a man by your own mindset or by your own way of doing things. That ain't the way. You cannot judge a man based upon that. You have to have some fundamental understanding of how masculinity works in a relationship. And so when you get into these relationships and they don't form and they don't develop into a lasting, loving relationship that lasts for 35, 45, 50 years, it's not because you're black. Has nothing to do with that. It's not because you're a woman. It's not because you're educated. It's not because you make a lot of money. It's not because you have status. You're the president and CEO of a major Fortune 100 or Fortune 1000 company. It has nothing to do with any of that. It has to do with what you know about relationships and what you know about the individuals, which are in this case a man. What do you know about the opposite sex? If you don't know how to relate with men, you don't know what men value. I'm talking about real men. I'm not talking about little boy men. Real men, they get committed, they in for good, they in. There's no options for me. Divorce is not an option in my relationship. It's not an option, okay? If you want that kind of man, then you have to understand, you have to know how to do something other than lay down on your back and have sex. If you think sex by itself is going to hook a man, I'm talking to some very immature women. If you think buying a man is going to get a man, I'm talking to some very immature women. If you think criticizing a man the way you would criticize a woman, girl, that dress just don't look good on you. You think you can criticize a man? Men don't deal with criticism very well. We just don't. We can take constructive criticism if it's going to bring value, and secondly, if it's not going to be disrespectful. You have to know how to communicate your dislikes without being I guess you can say it this way, it's a better way of putting it. You should be able to learn how to convey things that you don't like without being distasteful, disrespectful. It's called civility. Now, I know everyone's trolling today, and it's the fashion to be nasty and to let everybody know how you feel. And your feelings is the epitome of truth. If that's how you feel, that's how life should be for you, trust me. Get yourself some cats. Get a prescription from your doctor right now for some Prozac, because you're going to be by yourself. You're going to be alone. You're going to be jumping from man to man to man, and you're going to be scratching your head. But if you're like most people, you'll never take any constructive criticism. You'll never evaluate yourself to see, is there something I just don't know? Because that's all I'm saying. I'm saying that the reason that many black women are not getting married today, that why many black women are alone today, it's not because they're black or women or professionals. It's none of that. It's only because it's something they don't know. And you don't know what you don't know. So that's what I'm here for. I'll help you with that. If you're open. If you have a mindset that's open, I think I can help you. If you're willing to do some basic fundamentals, change some things about yourself as a course of listening to what I have to say about this issue. Next time we talk, we're going to be talking about some basic fundamentals of love. See you on the other side. God bless you.